Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies, understand something. The top end of a woman's weight is 145 pounds. Okay. My mother's 5'9", and she was 145 pounds until she was 50. That's the top end of your weight, because there should be about a 40-pound difference between you and men.
Basically, if the guy is rich, what ends up happening is the lawyer contacts the person and be like, hey, you know, your name gonna be all in the paper, so you might as well just settle out of court.
I can recognize talent. Even if I don't agree with the politics, a lot of the politics that was underlying in the show and some of the sentiments he was trying to share, I recognize artistry when an artist is present.
Yes, this is the definition of absolutely cooked. We'll never go back and take a look at her bad decision and take accountability for any of that.
Because there is powerful people in the industry, somehow there is a different law that applies to them. And I agree with that assessment.
What's good? What's good? What's good, YouTube? We back. Talk to me. Happy Tuesday. Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Kanye. What's going on, sir? We gotta talk. Before we go there, though, because it's going to be one of those. Shout outs to my writers, my poets, my content creators. Salutes to all of you. Keep grinding. Keep doing what you're doing. I know it ain't easy. Networking and getting your name out there and trying to connect with other people. Be persistent. Stay consistent. It'll come. It just takes time. Guaranteed. I got Anna in the building. I got Sydney in the building. Got a video that I want to play. Now, I wanted to let y'all know too, this isn't the actual video of him name dropping in 2025 specific folks that he's talking about, calling out with this video. But it's about to get messy, and I'm all here for it. Before we do that, though, do me a solid. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you repost, like, share this out. I got Jason just pulled up. I'm going to bring everybody to the forefront. Intros, if you're familiar with them, cool. If you're not, get to know them. Talk to me. Let me see how I want to do this. All right. Yo. I'm gonna wait until I'm gonna give Anna a chance to get her set up straight. I see her in the studio. I'll bring her up in a second. What's going on though, folks? Jason, what's up? Sydney, what's going on?
Not too much. Took my kids out to the park today, and we just barely got some of the rain as we were walking. And now I've been cleaning the house for what they did before we went to the park. So not too much, just regular housework today.
Okay. Anna, what's going on? You enjoying that bike?
I am. I'm having so much fun on my bike. I go to the gym on it, so it's my daily rider while my daughter's at school. So just it's a cruiser, so it's not really a street bike. I just cruise along and, get some wind therapy.
What kind of bike?
It's a Honda Rebel 500.
Nice. I have my eye on the is it the Shadow? Yeah, the Shadow.
Okay. That one's nice too.
Yes, it is. And another nice cruiser.
Yes.
Cruiser bikes. I think cruiser bikes are the best kinds of bikes.
Yeah.
You get a crotch rocket, and after a little while, it's like, okay, I'm done. But with a cruiser, you can just go miles and miles.
Yeah, and mine's a 24, so I got it newer, so I can just have it longer. And I also heard on the crotch rockets, there's more accidents, so I kind of just stay away from the adrenaline rush that I can get used to, and then hurt myself because I'm an adrenaline junkie.
You don't come across as one, but that's
really,
yeah, you know, you have this the way that you dress, the way that you present yourself. It's like you're very mellow. It's good to see that there's a side of you that we don't know about. It's like, oh no, I tear that shit up.
I used to allegedly I used to go to car street races in my young adulthood, so
misspent youth. Nice.
Hey, Jason, I didn't know you were a bike person, so we just learned something new about you as well.
Yeah, I got my M class when I was with the Army. They had a free motorcycle training program. Like, what the hell? So I've been riding mainly bicycles. Who didn't? Who's a Gen Xer? I mean, you went outside, you rode bikes, and that's pretty much what you did. So a lot of that transferred over to the controllability that I had. I got like the highest score in the entire class. But yeah, I love motorcycles.
That's what's up. Sydney, do you do the motorcycle thing? Am I missing something from your past that we haven't discovered yet?
My dad's best friend, who I always call him my uncle, he had a motorcycle, and he used to ask me if I wanted to go on the motorcycle with him, and I never did. I always was more interested on riding horses and dolphins and sharks than motorcycles. My husband wants one, but I am more of a pedal bicycle person. But yeah, I don't have one. I don't have a secret motorbike history. Sorry.
Not yet.
Right.
I mean, you never know with how things are changing right now. It could happen.
It's 70 miles to the gallon, so
they are more environmentally friendly.
They are. Save way more on gas, and they have their own internal fuel gauge system. Like there's no gauges, at least the ones that I've ridden on, don't have any fuel gauges themselves. But you know that when it's time to move to the auxiliary because it sputters out. But a story of a friend of mine who didn't use the auxiliary level correctly and just kept it on aux. And so when he ran out of gas, he was out of gas. He had to push that sucker to the nearest gas station.
Luckily, you know what? It's interesting you mentioned that. Sorry to run off on the tangent, but today mine was actually apparently there, and it showed that I was on reserve. So I was like, well, it's a 24, so it has that upgrade that it actually blinks,
Oh,
So I was like, I would have been off on the side of the road today.
Funny. I my mic was set to the wrong settings, but when we first came on, you didn't hear me, Sydney, but I said you're looking very festive today. You're welcome.
It's all fruit, and I really like nature patterns, and I have a lot of like fruit. I have a lemon dress and stuff like that. So
I love that.
pay homage to nature, since that's the least we can do.
Very cool.
Well, let's pay a little homage to tonight's topic. I seen a video earlier today. Kanye West apparently is threatening to leak some footage.
I know, right? Do everybody a favor.
Like between him and Gabrielle Union, I'm not surprised. It was just, why did y'all wait so long to even say something? But the video that I'm going to play here is not him telling on everybody. This is probably from like a year ago, where he was kind of just giving you a forewarning. Look, this is where we at. Y'all better wake up. And for the longest time, I think people got the impression that he was crazy, because he would speak so like blatant or so bold about sacrifices and some of the things that he's seen happening to your favorite artists, that it got people thinking that they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So let's go down a rabbit hole. This is from TikTok. Thank you very much, TikTok. You will always be appreciated. It's about 2 minutes. I'll play it, and we'll just run through it, get y'all thoughts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how they try to categorize.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name. Exactly. It's up.
Not you.
You know what I'm saying? And just for Minister Farrakhan, I love you, but the way you read that, I took that as a slight. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking no disrespect from nobody. So let's get on the phone. Let's talk that out. I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no slice from nobody, right? I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mama ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah. Appreciate
Michael Jordan. What about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize. And God loved me. You understand? They hit me. Gap, Adidas, all that away. Still Forbes, who hate me, right? Had to write net worth 400 million. Jesus is king. God loved me.
That's more important than keeping it alive.
That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And this truth is going to be heard. Y'all can't send none of y'all Meek Mills, y'all Puffies, y'all Lil Boozy, none of these names, none of these people that have to listen to y'all because they have legal. I never killed nobody, right? I'm the pussy that never killed nobody, right? But that means I can say whatever I want and not go to jail.
So I do want to correct something that you had said, Mel. One of the reasons why he sometimes sounds crazy, while Kanye sometimes sounds crazy, is because he is. But he also knows what's up. But the reason why I say that is because there is a very thin line between insanity and genius. And when the closer that you are to approaching that line, the more aware you are, but also the more knuck and futz you sound.
We're gonna have to spin back on that one. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. I really, matter of fact, I forget sometimes. My bad. I forget we have licensed psychologists in the building. So we're gonna rewind. We're gonna come back to that one. Sydney, your initial thoughts on the video.
I obviously am not a doctor and I'm not specialized in this, but to me, he looked like he might have been on something just with the way his eyes were throughout the video. He seemed unblinking for longer than I would expect. And like his stare kind of just seemed to have that like narcotic influence of some sort. But I know I don't know how I feel about the Illuminati. I know the theories and stuff behind it, but I don't know enough about it to really say one way or the other in terms of that, which to me is kind of the biggest piece into whether Kanye is crazy or genius. Because if he's right and like the Illuminati is real and this whole organization is genuine, then he would be a genius. But if you don't believe in that, to look at him while saying that, you would automatically believe that he was crazy. So I think what you believe in has a lot more was going to have a lot stronger of an impact, I guess, with how his theories are perceived. But one of the one of the other things that came to mind was something that you said earlier. If he does have the tapes, what is he waiting for? Why is he dangling them? Like, if you really have them, turn them in, like release them to the people that need and want to see them. That it's kind of an important piece of evidence for a big case. So I don't know why if he does truly have it, why he's treating it like that.
Anna, how you feeling? Did it rub you the wrong way? Did it make you feel any type of anything when you seen this? I mean,
The video?
face it, we the video, just him overall in general, his patterns, how you've observed them over the years.
So I have a lot to say on that, and I personally do believe in the Illuminati because they are a branch under Freemasons. It's a whole network that's tied in together. I personally know someone that was a part of Freemasonry. She did get out, but she did mention that she's surprised that she's even alive, because usually you don't get out being alive. Understand there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind a lot that happens, but there are real things that do happen, like the sacrifice and all of that. I mean, it's do you guys hear me? Okay. So, she did mention that this is already a different lady. She came out of Hollywood. She planned big parties for these big name people, and the things that they did to children even. And she said that it's unspeakable things that they can't even speak on, like even the Diddy stuff and the Epstein list. Like, there's a reason why everything's not coming out. They're like holding on to it, like, hold on, we got to black out this name, we got to black out that name. By the time it comes out, everything's gonna be redacted, and like, you're not going to know anything on it. So there's truth to some things that he says, like his mom being sacrificed. I would believe it because I know that's something that really does happen behind the scenes. That's stuff that we personally, normal human beings, don't see. And we understand, well, at least I do, the whole like satanic rituals. And so that's, for me, I'm not going to be oblivious about that. But I do understand. I respect the fact if people don't believe in it. It's, I would never force somebody else to believe something that, if you have no information on. So, yeah. But I do think he is cuckoo sometimes. And like, he made a whole Jesus gospel thing. And then he went back and he was like, I don't know if I believe in Jesus or something like that along the lines. And I was just like, this is very strange. And like, it made me wonder if he's on some type of, like Sydney said, some type of hard drugs, because like he literally does sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and there is probably truth weaved into it. One thing that I do like about him is that nobody can really control him in what to say or what to do, because I'm a big believer in not controlling people. Like, just let someone be who they are. I mean, if he ends up in a psych ward, let him end up in the psych ward. I don't know.
Do you think he's bipolar? I've heard that.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I don't.
No,
I don't.
okay.
Yeah. So I think he's eccentric, but he doesn't have the hallmark
just
signs
about
of.
to-
Yeah, he is eccentric, but eccentricity is not a hallmark of any kind of mental illness, and it just means someone is creative, and he explores the nature of creativity to its best degree. In that video, from what I can tell, he's stone sober. And the reason why I say that is because some of the things you were picking up on, Sydney, was fear. The wide eyes, the slack face, that is indicative of someone who is not socially engaged, someone who is actually more concerned about the situation than they're letting on. However, his eye movements were not jerky. His hand movements were very smooth. He was doing his best to control the situation, but you could tell that there was something that was creating stress for him. So those are things that I really picked up on as far as a behavioral psychologist. Now, for the idea of the Illuminati, get your tinfoil hats on, boys and girls, because we're about to explore some things. All right, so there's one name that you should know, or at least I'm going to talk about. His name is Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey wrote a book called The Satanic Bible. And he is credited with actually creating the Church of Satan. Even though he really didn't, he just kind of wrote the book about it. He started off as a carny. He was a organ player for a carnival in the Midwest U.S. And then from there decided that he was going to want to start a cult, because that's kind of like the thing that you do. And so he decided to write the Satanic Bible. In my misspent youth, I was very into the occult and mysticism, and so I made sure that I could read everything that I could, including that piece of work. And while it was interesting, there were many things about it that I found to be very very questionable. Now, when you think about sects or the organizations like the Illuminati, like the Freemasons, like the Skull and Bones, which are a very private, very restricted fraternity, or even going as back as the Knights Templar. All of these things are related in some way. All of them have to do with the Catholic Church in some way as well. You've got other organizations like Opus Dei, things like this. These are fringe groups that are very extremist, and some of them have been infiltrated and hijacked by very nefarious organizations. One of them is called the Khazarian Mafia, which its origins are somewhere between Russia and Ukraine, in that area is where they actually formed. And they were the original, they were the OGs when it came to Satan worship. And they were all about money and sacrifices. And so when he's talking about sacrifices, okay, well, that lines up. Talking about all these people that are controlled. One thing that I do remember from Kanye, what he was talking about. Remember that one? Oh, what was it? There was one award that way back. I think this is like in 2014 or something. Where Beyonce had won an award, and she had basically stood up. This was the second time this actually. Now that I think about it, this is the second time this happened. She actually got an award where Taylor Swift should have gotten an award, but Beyonce did instead. And Kanye got on the stage, ripped the mic out of her hand, and started blasting her all over media. There hasn't been any good blood between Kanye and Beyonce for a while, probably since the beginning, ever since She sold out. And for him to say that he has the list, I wouldn't doubt that he does. And the question is, well, why doesn't he release it? You have to think long term. If he releases the list, that's basically his bargaining chip. The one thing that he has that actually can stave off anybody, threatening the list. Oh, I have this list and I have copies. You have no idea where all the copies are, and if anything were to happen to me, this would be released. It's kind of like that trump card that he has, and only release it when absolutely necessary, or if the winds are favorable, where it will not be suppressed, it will not be interfered with, or anything like that. And that's a big reason why a lot of the other things have not been released yet. There are so many vetting processes to make sure that this information does not get suppressed, that it does not get squashed by organizations who have no business interfering with this kind of information. Because I also agree that it deserves to come out, but it deserves to come out in a way that is going to be of most benefit to the people and of the most detriment to these self-serving organizations and the people who are part of them, in order to get the most pain. So I don't believe he's crazy. I think he's eccentric, yes. And I think there's a lot of misinformation about mental health, so much so that it's easy to cast aspersions on someone's mental capacity or an emotional well-being successfully. One thing that I absolutely loathe, the one thing that gets me going almost more than anything else, is the term narcissist, and how much it gets thrown around, and how much it gets used, and how much people have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Because it is a word that comes with a diagnosis. Narcissistic personality disorder is a diagnosis. And unless you are diagnosing someone, you have no business to be using that word. However, you hear people talk about, oh, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. But they have no idea what they're talking about. All they're talking about is people who are self-serving, more self-serving than the rest of us, or at least more capable or more able and more prevalent to display self-serving behavior than the normal person. And it just pisses me off to hear that kind of thing. But you'll hear people say, no problem, that Kanye or this person or that person is a narcissist. They're whatever. They're bipolar. They're schizophrenic. They're all kinds of things that go on where there's no diagnosis and no reason to be using these kinds of words, and it's absolute crap. I yield the mic.
People do the same thing with OCD, where they're like, "Oh, I'm just a little OCD," when they're trying to organize their desk. I'm like that.
Oh, the best is when people say, "Oh, I'm autistic." Did you get a diagnosis? Did you go through the personality traits, or did you just take a quiz online that said, "Oh, I'm autistic with ADHD"? Yeah, really? Or is it just the fact that you're undisciplined and you haven't done enough to actually do something with your life that's meaningful because you're too scared to actually commit to something? That's not a mental illness. That's called a cop out.
You should write a motivational book, but like that.
I'll do it in the voice of Lewis Black.
You know what I love about this? You got a biblical component and you have a more psychological component. I've been listening to his music, not recently in the last couple of years, but like when he first came out, and I was an avid hip hop head. I was really into him because like he didn't rap like anyone else, and you could tell that he read books. He wasn't slow. He didn't come off like he does now. He didn't give you the impression that he was running into the wall head first and sitting in the dark putting out candles with his tongue. He didn't come off like that. But like I noticed, and it seems like it goes like this with every single artist damn near. Doesn't matter if it's R&B or country. Seems like a person will start out normal as hell. They might have their own like little quirks, but they'll be pretty normal. You give them a couple years, and then by the end of it, they don't even do the things that they used to do when they first got into the door. It's just almost like you're seeing a transformation slowly run its course over time. And a lot of what you said, well, all three of you, I thought was interesting, is no one is really saying he's crazy. It's more or less he just has his own way of doing things. One thing that I want to say, and I've heard this a lot, if you sign deals and they have evidence, you decide that one day you don't want to play along with them no more. Now you want to go off and do your own thing. You want to be free. You want to be able to control your content however you want. This doesn't suit me no more, so I want to get away from it. And what I always would hear is one tactic that would be used: destroy the character of the person, rip them apart on social media, create stories, narratives, commercials, start to remove them from certain settings, take away their brands, take away their finances, deals that they might have had with somebody, and then paint the picture that this person don't know what the hell they talking about. They're just blabbing out stuff. He ha ha. Oh, that's just him. That's just Kanye. He's always been like that. He's always been Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown. They call him a drug addict. They call him everything under the sun. Yet and still, he can rap. He can sing. He can act. He's multi-talented. He done been up and down Hollywood, all on social media, expressing his same exact feelings, except he's been a little more vocal about it. Why do you think people align themselves with every single narrative that runs? Why do you think people are looking at him when he says, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I got this, I got that," and y'all are stupid for following this and that. But every time you see him on camera, they got him looking crazy. Why do you think people are so quick to just buy into what they are being told?
It's called character assassination, is what it's called. It is the absolute destruction of someone's character, because if you can't control them, destroy them. And it's the idea that someone who is uncontrollable is absolutely, it's not allowed, basically. So the desire to make sure someone can be controllable, if you can't control them, then do away with them, is a huge part of it. It's the desire to make sure that you control everything, which is a laugh, because no one can control everything. It's impossible. But that's what you get when you have people who are afraid of death, and they want to control every aspect of life in order to make themselves feel better, because they have zero control over themselves.
I do wonder a lot, especially now with what we're going through, and how much of what we're shown is actually real, is actually based on exactly what's happening, especially for people of that much power. I find it hard to believe that, like, unpublished footage could, yes, unpublished footage could definitely be found, but I think maybe a higher percentage of it might not be, like, unknown. Like, I've heard of some celebrities doing this, and I would not be surprised if it was more common, of them, like, prepping these videos to make themselves look a certain way, because I know a lot of people want their brand to encompass everything, like their personality and everything like that. And I know there have been celebrities that specifically put out stuff that they made up on purpose to showcase that particular trait that they want to feature. And so I wonder if some of those videos could be, if they are Kanye West's version of that, where, like, he wants to have this certain image of a disruptor, and so he puts out content that shows him being, give me a second, okay, threw something down the stairs, it's okay. I wonder if it's him, like, maintaining a certain image for his brand. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
It was something that Jason had said, then I was thinking about it, and it was about having some type of contingency in case things started to hit the fan, and he was in a situation where, all right, what we doing? You know, I asked why wait or why it takes so long, and I still wonder why it takes so long, because it's, to me, one of the reasons why you would is because you were there. I don't know how involved you were in any of it, but you were there and you saw it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the recordings. And if that's not the case and you're just innocent, then there shouldn't have been any type of issue with this coming out sooner, unless there's things within this that would tie you to it as well. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, Jay-Z just got accused of inappropriately doing things with someone. I don't even know what happened with that. You got celebrities leaving the country, moving. If I'm not mistaken, Diddy's trial is either this month or next month. But my whole thing is with Kanye, with anybody that's in the spotlight. With Robin Williams was depressed, but nobody knew he was depressed. Kanye is more on camera, in your face. He just kind of just does things, and you don't really know what to do with that.
Robin Williams wasn't depressed. He had brain cancer.
I thought it was like Parkinson's or Lou Gehrig's.
It was a inoperable form of brain cancer, and that's why he ended himself, because he didn't want to be a burden on anyone else.
So damn. So they basically lied about the whole depression thing.
Yeah, it was basically for a the idea of depression was basically to push a narrative. So the whole idea of you never let a tragedy go to waste, or never fail to capitalize on a tragedy. So yeah, it's easy to say that he was depressed, but really he was dying, and he knew it. He wanted to go out on his own terms.
Shit. Damn. And that's what I'm talking about too. You're painting a picture of a person to drive your audience to monetize off of them, to make money off of somebody's pain or somebody's desires, or so their lust and needs and wants. Like that has to be another level of demonic to me. Like I said, I remember when like Britney Spears came into the game. She was vibrant. She was like just fun, and she just became like a zombie at some point. And then she went into this whole spiel, did the whole rehab thing. Now she's bouncing back, but it's like every time I see somebody who was just like innocent when they start out, and then you fast forward, you see like they go through these different little phases. I just, is this really worth it? Being in the spotlight, being in front of this camera 24 hours a day, is it really worth being around them people? Is it really worth these shoes and getting your logo and your name on these things? If you really got to sacrifice your time, your family, and all of this for the perversion that goes on behind the scenes. I can't. I couldn't. I couldn't imagine putting anybody or throwing anybody under the bus. My career probably wouldn't even last a week because I would tell on everybody. You did what? With who? Oh yeah, it's over. It's a wrap. Pay me, or or yeah. Nah, I wouldn't bribe nobody. It would be tempting though. I wouldn't bribe nobody. I wonder if he did that though. If they shut him up with hush money, they keep that stuff to itself. I'm sure they did it to Ray J and a whole plethora of other people. So if they did it to them, why wouldn't he have done it to him? He said Shaq is controlled. He said LeBron is controlled. He named a couple other people. Beyonce, Jay-Z is controlled. Is that far-fetched? Is that hard to believe?
No, especially not with LeBron as well. I have heard reports and seen some evidence in more fringe sites that actually shows that LeBron is part of the problem.
The thing that made me believe that celebrities are all in on it more than anything was when I'm totally blanking on the name of the event now, but they made a wealthy person event private now. You can't go. I think it was either the Golden Globes or the Met thingy. Oh my God. I don't follow these things. Yeah, the Met Gala. I don't follow these things, as you can tell. So I'm so terrible with these names and people, but they used to allow like photographers and stuff to come in to the Met Gala, but it was either like 2020 or 2019. I think it was 2020 because I think they used the COVID as an excuse, but they basically made it like, oh, only the celebrities' private photographers are going to be allowed into this event. And supposedly, I don't know if this was true or not because it was a tabloid website, I'm pretty sure. But some of the celebrities were saying that they required them to give their phones up. Like they weren't allowed to have their phones on them while they were in the Met Gala. And hearing stories like that made me believe that like there are celebrities that are part of some underground like protection network. I believe at this point, honestly, I just think that if you are wealthy enough and you have enough fingers in whatever system you're involved in, you probably have ties to people. You guys are probably all working together and helping each other out to make sure that y'all stay rich and famous, and all us young poor people, we get to scrabble over what's left. But yeah, I do find it more and more believable as time goes on that a bunch of people are in on this secret organization type stuff.
What happens next? What happens now? You know it's going to come out. You know all of it's going to come out.
Oh, it's beginning to slowly. You see that in fact, Hollywood has been making big moves from California all the way to Canada, and they've been the well of corruption in the U.S. has been drying up, so they're going to British Columbia in order to continue doing what they're doing. What they don't realize is with the the stuff that Donald Trump is talking about, it could all just be one country anyway. So,
do you honestly think that this is going to change anything? Like as far as Hollywood in the music industry, is it going to change the way that we view any of these people? Is it going to really stop anything economically for their pockets?
The only way it stops is if there are people to stop it. If these people are taken out of the equation completely, whether it be arrest or however else it gets done. The fact they think that they're untouchable is part of the problem. So they need to be touched and firmly and in a not nice way.
I mean, if they went to Diddy's party, they'd have a good chance of being touched.
Well, there's that.
I think we're getting closer to the whole top blowing off, because especially with what's happening with the politicians and all of their ties to industry and everything like that, people are becoming very, very disenfranchised and fed up with the highly wealthy, the highly powerful. And even I even noticed the shift starting around the time of the Lahaina fire, and during COVID as well, where people were starting to get critical. Like, what do you mean? Like, you get to live in a literal like town on your property. Like, you have a gym and a pool and like you have an entire property to live on, when some people had to spend their COVID in like a studio apartment with no window. And then also the Lahaina fire, how multiple celebrities bought a bunch of property, and there was conspiracies that like the rich were trying to take the entire island for themselves. And so I'm starting to see things cropping up more and more of people starting to despise celebrities for the lives that they live, and they are not paying attention to their influence. They don't care about those people and how they're living. Like back in the 2000s, everyone was dying to see, oh, what does the inside of their house look like? What furniture did they get? What clothes are they wearing? Like, people wanted to know exactly how to live like the rich. And we had all like cribs and stuff like that to showcase like how these celebrities actually lived. But I think we're kind of coming to the end where people are realizing, like, I don't want to idolize these people, because in some cases, some of these people are kind of terrible. So that fantasy is kind of dying in the US, I think.
Y'all had to know it was coming eventually. It's but so much dirt you can do. That cocky attitude, I can buy my way out of everything. You can just tear down and destroy everybody's lives while you cultivate yours and elevate your lineage and all this blood money and this that. You can get away with it, but so long before eventually it's going to rear its ugly head. I'm not surprised that it's happening. It's more or less, it's like watching someone panic or go into panic mode. Everybody is scrambling, trying to figure out what they can do to kind of minimize this or make it look as nonsensical as possible before it actually gets released to the public. Let's say a tape came out today. Everybody in the world saw it. How long does that video stay up?
First of all, I have to say it's probably going to be pay-per-view if they do come out with that.
Netflix.
Yeah. Disney Plus.
You know, it's funny, but
you ain't lying. We're joking about this, but this is more true than you think.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't they just have an executive get arrested for just that? Or no, it wasn't. No, it was. Oh my God, it was iCarly. And I forgot I remember his first name's Dan. But he was like one of the producers of the show, and multiple, like Ariana Grande and what's her name? The one that plays Carly and iCarly. Many of them had allegations that he had like touched them or done other things. So, yeah.
I did not know about that one, but I'm not surprised either.
There are a lot of shows where kids were involved where there's allegations of impropriety with these children, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the whole pedo ring, as it's being called. But yeah, it's definitely a large problem, and I hope it does get revealed sooner than later, because once it's revealed, that's when it all goes to shit for them. Because as they said in the movie, what was it, The Usual Suspects? Yes, The Usual Suspects. The funnest trick the funnest trick of the devil is to persuade you that he does not exist.
Are you paying for it? Are you paying for the pay-per-view?
I'm paying for it, and I'm recording that shit. I'm distributing it everywhere.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna wait for somebody to make it public for free.
Somebody's going to bootleg it, and then they're going to screen record it, and then it's going to get remixed and remix some more. It will be on everything. Even if they do get rid of it, you're not getting rid of it. People are going. I guarantee there's going to be people who keep it for their own sick personal reasons. Like, it's not even just going to be for anything other than you have like this fetish that you like. You might be one of them one of them folks that supported the stuff that was going on too.
It's funny. In the past, I used to hear about the cabal, and I kind of thought it was with all the other like theories and conspiracies and stuff like that. And now that we're in this modern era, I definitely believe now that there is some like hidden cabal. I can't unsee it now. I'm like, yes, deep conspiracy does make a lot of sense, actually. They don't care about us at all.
It's the moment that the conspiracy theory becomes conspiracy fact.
Right? I just saw this library made the news because they moved their dystopian novel section to current events.
Not surprised. Not surprised one bit. I wanted to ask a question, and this is strictly for educational purpose for the people who are watching. Maybe you're not familiar with this. It was a two-part. Does grooming in Hollywood resemble grooming at home? And my second question is character assassination. What does that look like? Or do you have like an example of it? If you could give one.
I'll let Jason go first.
So, as far as character assassination goes, none come to the top of mind, but there is one that I've considered. As in, I've considered destroying the credibility of a person because of how reckless they were with the influence they had. Fortunately, I didn't have to do anything. This person did it themselves. But the best way to assassinate someone's character is to take certain snippets of certain. Oh, okay. Donald Trump is a good one. Attempted character assassination there. Some of you might not agree. That's fine. But you can't deny that there were clips that were taken of things that he said, and they were rearranged and put in a way that made him look like an absolute monster. And regardless of what you think about it, this is not about politics. This is just about the evidence that is out there of video editing for the sole purpose of destroying someone's credibility. And that's essentially what I was considering with this person. Actually, I wouldn't even have to go that far. I could actually take straight clips of what this person was saying, put them right online, and it would be absolutely damning for him from his own mouth. Things that he was saying in a public forum where there are many other people, many witnesses, where I could easily access those things and just make it so that I could, like on repeat, put these things over and over and over again on multiple news channels, multiple social media channels, would be undeniable. And then that would completely destroy his character, because these things that he was saying was very much against how he portrayed himself. And it's like, you are a bag of shit, and I cannot wait till someone takes you out. I might have to be that person. So if I were to assassinate someone's character, what I would do is I would find the most revealing information, or I would elicit the most revealing information from the source in a way that would be undeniable in its scope, where editing wouldn't have to be necessary. I could just take their words word for word and use it against them to show the truth of what a person is. Character assassination only really works if there's truth behind it. If you can prove that the things that you have done, or the things that a person has done, are things that are heinous enough to warrant the character assassination. So that's how I would do it. Another person, actually, as I think about it, is Mel Gibson. Another person whose character was absolutely obliterated, who could not work in Hollywood after he was called an anti-Semite. And basically there was evidence that was shown to prove that he was not a good person. He hated Jews, and he was not fit for being in Hollywood. That's another instance of character assassination.
Would it also be character assassination if, like, somebody's trying to accuse somebody of a crime, and so they start, like, creating, like, oh yeah, I saw them do this, and I saw them go over there and, like, commit this act? Like, isn't that suspicious?
It can be, but again, it has to be proven. There has to be some way to link what is being said to proof. Otherwise, it is just allegation. And as we've seen, allegation doesn't mean shit. It has to be something that can be pointed to, something that can be verified. So, oh wow, okay, you brought receipts, and these receipts actually show what really happened. Like, okay, there's no way to overcome that, because you can see that the behavior of what they're talking about relates to things they have done, or things that they have said, or completely counteract what they've done or said to a degree where it's indefensible. That's why it's a character assassination. There's no way to defend against it.
Causes punitive damage, right?
Well, that's different. Punitive damage means that you're causing damage that has a price tag. It's a legal term. What you're actually doing is you are irreparably destroying their credibility.
Like if they lost business or something because of it.
Right, yes. So, well, that is a secondary effect of a character assassination is because a person's credibility and their ability to be trusted is affected. Everything else around them goes away.
Okay.
You said something else, Mel. You asked another question, and I forgot
Yeah,
what it was.
it was about our is Hollywood grooming the same as grooming in the household, or a teacher grooming a student, or a parent, or are they similar? Do they have similar attributes or signatures that you would identify, or are these like separate?
They had better be separate because the grooming that happens in Hollywood is illegal. It's the term for that kind of grooming, and I want to be careful because there's small ears that are listening. The term grooming in the Hollywood sense, or in the elite sense, is it is the constant affection and attention of a person who is innocent in order to get them to want to go along with a self-serving point of view or a self-serving action. Whereas grooming as a parent or as a teacher is more about educating someone of how to be a better person. At least I would hope it would be. If it's not different, then, man, there'd be a lot of CFS cases that had better be opening. But as far as the idea of grooming, parental grooming is usually, parental grooming is supposed to be the ability to ready children as they grow older to become adults who can see themselves as themselves and create their own mark in the world in a way that's going to be unique and totally them. For a teacher, it should be the ability to educate children in order to prepare them for the world in a way that makes them more aware of what is around them rather than being ignorant.
In terms of like the negative version of grooming, in general, no matter who's doing the grooming, it will usually follow a set pattern. That adult will try and do what they can to entice the child to go with them to a place that's out of view, and then this is like when they're actually trying to commit the act, but it'll start with them trying to gain the favor of the child. They might give them gifts, they might give them food, candy, let them do things that their parents wouldn't let them do, might try and like talk them up to kind of make them feel like they're older, special, or something like that. And then they'll gradually move them towards being more comfortable with like being touched or being near the person, sitting next to them, or being taken somewhere alone. And then once they've gotten the child comfortable with them, that's when they'll make their moves and do things. And so it usually does look the same in terms of like who's in terms of the pattern of the activity, but they might do slightly different things to interact with the child.
The biggest difference is the power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Because a person who is grooming, let's say Hollywood grooming, we'll call it that. With Hollywood grooming, what you have is a person who not only does these things, the enticement, the familiarity and whatnot, but they also promise things for the child or for the family, and then use that as a weapon against the children or to coerce them to go along with something the child knows is not something that they want. And so now they are being pressured by someone who's in a position of authority in order to do something that they're not comfortable with, because if they don't, they will lose something that will be, in their mind, greater than if they were to acquiesce. This
is just my speculation, but I I think that they did. I lose my thought? No, I didn't. That I think they would be a little bit more threatening than a familial relationship. I can see threatening happen with a familial relationship, but I feel like if it was somebody in power, they'd be more likely to also use like, oh, if your parents find out, you'll lose this opportunity, or they'll be disappointed in you, or they'll like making the child feel like something will happen to them if they reveal what had happened. And I feel like if they're an external party, they're probably more likely to use threats, but I could also see a parent kind of using that like to don't tell the other parent.
Well, that's common. That is common criminal. That's criminal behavior 101.
Mm-hmm.
3 things that criminals don't want. They don't want to get caught, identified, or hurt. And if they can avoid all 3 of those things, they're golden. If one of those things, even one of those things, is at risk, they're going to be less likely, unless the juice is well worth the squeeze, in order to actually follow through. But for the most part, all criminals want to avoid those 3 things. So, or anyone who observes criminal behavior, which in my estimation is the same as a criminal. So you've got these people who are committing criminal acts and are then saying, don't tell this person. Or if your parents find out, you won't be able to have this. Or if you don't do this, I'm going to have to tell your parents this happened. And that means you won't be able to do this any longer, which means your parents, your family is going to suffer. Is that what you want? So it is some of the most heinous form of manipulation in order to get what one wants. There is a special place in hell for people just like this.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly why we are here where we are now. With Justin Bieber, with all of them. And my final thoughts on this, at least until further updates come, because I'm waiting on it. I know somebody's going to leak a video at some point. I don't know where it's going to come from, but it's going to be there. Money is not everything. Success is not everything. If there are things that you are trying to acquire, there are ways to go about it without selling your soul. And I'm really speaking more or less towards parents, because the parents are some of the enablers behind people like Justin Bieber being propositioned the way that he was. Y'all let this celebrity go to y'all head, and you just allow your kids to run off with these people because you know they have talent and you want to see them succeed, and you're fanning over these people, ignoring the red flags and allowing them to go off with these singers and these rappers, knowing that there's a risk, that there's a specific kind of danger that you could be potentially putting them in. You should be held responsible and accountable for your level of participation in this as well. I really, 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 really hope that Kanye releases these videos. I hope that everything plays out the way that needs to be played out. I thank you both for giving your different breakdowns on like the mental side of it. As much as we've seen him on camera, as much as we hear him talk and we see him in interviews, is he crazy? Is he not crazy? Does he believe in God? Just a different perspective was necessary. So, I mean, those are my final thoughts on it. I do believe the tapes exist. I'm not denying that whatsoever. I know they exist. It was just like, why now? And should people really take them serious? So,
well, first of all, I do think Diddy did it. And second of all, this is exactly why I'm more interested in earthquakes and storms. There's far less nuance in earthquakes and storms than there is with people. And it's so much easier to predict earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and storms than it is to predict people. I'm half kidding. Here. Go ahead. I would be very interested to see if Kanye West was actually right. That as much as I don't know about it, I have always wanted, like, okay, National Treasure was one of my favorite movies. And I remember I was at the age that I didn't know fact from fiction yet. I was only like maybe 9 or something. And I remember when I found out that movie was fiction and there wasn't actually some like secret hidden code and stuff, like all of that stuff, I was so disappointed. I was like, life is so much more boring than I thought it was going to be. I thought there's going to be like mysteries and secret organization. No. So it would actually be kind of a joy to find out there is actually some secret societies and stuff like that. So that would be kind of cool to learn about.
Did he do it? I think Diddy did. And that's until proof. I mean, there's a lot of proof that leads to it. So I just wanted to say it like that because it sounds fun. Did he do it? Did he did? But Conway wet. We are not right. We are not right in the head. There's something wrong with us. But yeah, it was. This is a good one. This is a good topic. Yes, we do need help. Yes, we need all the help, all the therapies. No, seriously, it was. This was a good one. I'm glad that I showed up, and it's too bad that Anna had to bounce early.
Yeah.
But she was missed.
Yeah, shout out to Anna. Shout out to the people that's watching. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. I'm gonna stay up on the story. I'm gonna see how this play out. I'm curious. We do have underground cities, Sydney. So I mean, you're not too far off.
They're called deep underground military bases, and the acronym is DUMB.
What a good name.
I know, right? Well, hey, we about to get up off of here. Me and Sydney will be back tomorrow. Any poets out there, if you're in the building, hit me up. Reach out, text messages, emails. You know where I'm at. This was a good show. What do you believe? Do you believe them tapes are real? How many people are going down with them? Is all of Hollywood on that Titanic? We'll see real soon, won't we? This is Assembly of Excellence saying good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Do me a solid before you go. Hit the button, and like, share, subscribe to the channel. We out.